Age is supposed to be a one-way street. There's only one way to grow. Older. Spring's daffodils grow old, and so do 1949 convertibles.
That's true.
Not to mention 1914's tigers. Jokes grow old. Very, very old. And so does Shirley Temple.
That's true.
But for some things, age is a two-way street. Nations, markets, styles and standards. These things can grow younger. In fact, you can awaken to find that what was middle-aged only recently has a whole new bloom of youth to it.
That's true.
It's happening today in our country, in our markets, and the way things are done. And it's very exciting. How did we start growing younger? Those old enough to remember recall that we crawled out of a Great Depression feeling very old indeed. Old in spirit. Old physically as the birth rate hit bottom and stayed there along with the market. And then the war. And the young went away for 4 years more. Finally, with victory, they came home with an idea of making up for lost time. And the first bumper crop of babies was born. The nursery class of 1946, 3,411,000 strong. And the classes grew to 4 million plus during the 50s. In the decade ending in 1956, 39 million babies were born, which was a cradle-rocking 40% more than the previous decade. And the baby industry grew into long pants. Baby foods, after spending generations in the toddler stage, had their own population explosion right on the grocer's shelves. Playpens grew 60% between 1945 and 1960. And a host of toy makers grew from vacant lots to better than $100 million companies. And the list of new products aimed squarely at the toddler to teen market grew like rabbits. Chucks, Tricks, Chicks, Sugar Pops, Play-Doh, Soaky, Squeaky, Softy, Mighty Mo, Tiny Tears. Gorgo. And a playroom full of other names became the Esperanto of the diaper set. We had seemed to become a nation of musketeers and 4-foot space cadets. But kids have a way of growing up, and what had been the blooming baby market at the head of the 50s now spread into blooming adolescence in the 60s. We had become a young nation. By 1959, our median age had dropped under 30 for the first time in 2 decades. Moreover, we are in a grow younger trend, which seems likely to last through the next generation. Today, 52 out of every 100 Americans is under 30. By 1980, the figure will be 57 out of 100. And by the numbers, America is taking a giant step youthward in its age groupings. In 1960, the number of people who were between 15 and 30 and those who were between 30 and 45 was about equal. By 1970, there will be 15 million more people in the 15 to 30 group. And by 1980, there will be over 18 million more. Youth is sweeping the country. And even companies and whole industries whose total market knows no age boundaries haven't been slow to recognize it. The word is out to drive, drink, think young, young wear, young hair, smoke young, coke young, come alive, come awake, come and go. Youth is on the hot line. Gobbling up everything. Pants, prints, platters.
Ding dong, Dolly, you're the girl for me. Don't be maybe, baby, can you see? Ding dong, Dolly, please stay by me.
And those who believe the best way to capture a market is to grow your own have their eyes firmly fixed on the young years ahead. Take 1970. Of the 10 million cars which might come out of the factory then, 3 million will be bought by people under 30. Of the total makeup market of nearly 6 billion in 1970, the under 30 market will make up some 3 billion, ready to wear. Young people will pick out half of the total 1970 product. They'll wear out 50 million or 1/3 of the original car tires. Eat 693 million pounds or 55% of the breakfast cereal. Smoke 40 of every 100 packs of cigarettes, and fly 33 million of every 100 million passenger miles. Get 55 of every 100 headaches,
Achoo!
and burn most of every 100 batches of black brownies, and get blamed for more than half of all the big ones that got away. Paint 30 of every 100 new homes. Throw footballs in an ever upward sales spiral. Shoot the works on the total output of new cap pistols. And because this young market is sure to have a few unswerving ideas about growing its own, 1970 will see them pushing 10 million baby carriages, diapering during the year some 15 million young bottoms, and consuming some 5 billion gallons of milk. The youth market is very big for its age, for any age, and it's growing. But if numerical dimensions spell the obvious reason for thinking young, the actual act of thinking young is easier said than done. The young ideas of the 30s.
Bingo!
My friends, my dears.
40s. Or 50s have a lot of hair on them today. And the toughest communication problem of all is probably trying to get one generation to talk to another generation.
I think older people are more mild because they're tighter.
Pop art, I think, is weird. Teenagers shouldn't drink at all. If they should drink, they should drink milk.
I don't think I have enough freedom.
I wouldn't have to look for anything in a car. I'd just go out and buy an XKE.
I'm not interested in speed.
But I'm not crazy about 16-year-old kids driving cars.
Poor parental supervision.
The person I most admire are my parents, and I hope that someday I can be parents just like them.
Whether or not the young generation is going to hell is a question that is always ultimately answered by the younger generation. The only sure thing is, if they're worth selling to, it takes more than talking to. It takes getting through to. The kind of advertising that will succeed best is likely to be advertising that not only looks young, but also thinks the way the young think. This is more a challenge of understanding rather than creating. And this advertising will have to get through to the up-and-coming generations while they're still coming up, while their buying attitudes are growing. This means using media whose outlook attracts the young and the young in spirit. Those who are quick of step, inquiring of mind, playful at heart, and in beat with the times. Such a medium is life, who at something under 30 itself likes to think young, but is old enough to have witnessed all these changes. And life, like the young market, is very big for its age.
me.